Listen closely. If you're sitting there hoping someone will always have your back no matter what, let me break that illusion now. The harsh reality is this: no one owes you loyalty. No one is guaranteed to stand by you through every storm. And the truth is, hardly anyone is truly your friend. Once you accept that, you gain the ability to stop leaning on make-believe and start owning your life. Let's get into the first point. Don't trust anyone completely. People usually look out for themselves first. Loyalty is uncommon. The truth may sting, but it's necessary if you want to move ahead in life. Most people, no matter how close they appear, are mostly driven by their own interests. They're not losing sleep thinking about how they can support you, protect you, or remain loyal no matter what. Their first reflex is to think about themselves. That doesn't mean they're evil, it's just how people are wired. Everyone has a basic drive to survive, and surviving means putting your own needs, goals, and comfort ahead of others. Even when someone seems like your ride or die, there's a part of their mind measuring what they gain from being close to you. They're evaluating your usefulness like it's a business deal. What do you offer? How can they benefit? What's the risk if they support you? This is the uncomfortable truth many avoid because it goes against the nice story about friendship we're told growing up. But life isn't some fairy tale, and if you live like it is, you'll never rise above the rest. Loyalty gets celebrated, but real loyalty? It's rare. Most people who say they're loyal vanish when things get tough, when the situation turns risky, or when there's no benefit left. True loyalty means standing firm even when there's nothing in it for you, or even when it costs you something. Very few people are built that way. That's why when your situation shifts, when you lose status, power, or value, people start leaving like autumn leaves in the wind. Their loyalty was tied to your benefits, not genuine care or respect. This doesn't mean you should become bitter or destroy every relationship. It just means be smart. If you trust someone completely, you give them power they probably don't deserve. And when your guard is down, you're exposed. Especially in areas like business, competition, or even self-growth, vulnerability often leads to setbacks. So keep your eyes open, measure your trust, and don't assume someone's pure just because they're charming or say the right things. Understand this too. Humans are naturally social. Yes, they need relationships, but many of those relationships are built on self-interest. If you offer something valuable, people will flock to you, but that can change overnight when your value decreases. That's why your internal foundation needs to be strong, so your success or happiness doesn't depend on someone else being loyal to you. Be intentional with your trust. Don't hand it out freely. Let people earn it over time, step by step, like a contract that needs to be fulfilled. Actions matter more than words. People will say all the right things, but what they actually do is what reveals the truth. Are they consistent? Are they there when it's hard? Do they look out for your interests or only their own? These are the questions you need to ask before placing your faith in anyone. At the same time, reflect on your own choices. Are you staying loyal to people who don't deserve it? Are you giving trust to those who've already shown they can't handle it? Emotions and memories make it easy to hold on, but those don't build futures or protect your peace. Being realistic about human behavior and adjusting your relationships accordingly is one of the greatest forms of self-respect. It's how you protect your energy, your time, and your resources. When you finally understand that no one will prioritize you the way you prioritize yourself, you get a rare kind of freedom. You're free from false hopes, betrayal, and wasted time. You stop waiting for people to do right by you and start focusing on what actually matters. You start building yourself into someone so solid, so strong, that even if people walk away, you stay standing. You become a self-made force, a person whose power isn't tied to other people's promises or fake friendships, but to relentless effort and unshakable belief in yourself. The harsh truth about not trusting anyone completely isn't about cutting people off. It's about becoming wise. It's about mastering how you think, judge, and live. It's about seeing reality for what it is, not what you wish it could be. And once that becomes your foundation, you stop chasing the dream of perfect friendship and start creating real partnerships, connections built on honesty, mutual gain, and earned respect, not blind trust. So remember, don't fully trust anyone, because real loyalty is rare, and people are naturally built to protect themselves first. That knowledge doesn't make you cold. It makes you focused, sharp, and ready for whatever the world throws at you. Now let's unpack something most don't want to hear. Friendship is often transactional. Not every bond is built on pure love or selfless loyalty. Most connections, when you really look, are a trade of value. And that doesn't have to be negative. It just means you should be aware. From the first moment two people meet, there's usually a silent exchange going on. It may be subtle, but it's real. One person offers time, advice, support, protection, money, access, or even just companionship. The other person, often without realizing, measures what they're gaining in return. This balance is what keeps the relationship alive. When one side gives too much without getting enough back, cracks begin to show. Eventually, if the balance isn't restored, the connection weakens or breaks entirely. Most friendships are like partnerships. You give, they give. If one of you is constantly pouring into the relationship while the other just takes, it becomes draining. And people aren't built to give endlessly without return. Once they hit their limit, they either pull away or walk away. On the other hand, if you're the one always receiving and giving nothing meaningful in return, you start to look like someone who just uses others. And that erodes trust fast. This doesn't mean all friendships are fake. It just means even the best relationships work when both sides benefit somehow. That benefit could be emotional support, encouragement, shared goals, or just mutual enjoyment. As long as both people feel like they're getting something valuable, they'll keep showing up. But when that feeling fades, the relationship usually does too. People outgrow connections when the value exchange dries up, and they do it without guilt. That's why understanding this helps you navigate your social world with clearer eyes. You stop blindly handing out loyalty, time, or energy. You start asking real questions. Is this relationship adding to my growth? Am I learning, expanding, feeling uplifted? Or am I being drained, used, or held back? If the answer doesn't serve you, it's time to reevaluate your investment. Looking at friendships this way also protects you. Too many people wear the mask of a friend while secretly using you for what you can provide. They want your help, your contacts, your status, but they won't lift a finger for you when things get hard. If you're not thinking of friendship as a two-way street, you'll get played. You'll give and be shocked when they're gone at your lowest moment. This isn't about being heartless. It's about being wise with your energy. You don't owe anyone blind loyalty just because they've been around or say the right things. You owe it to yourself to guard your time, protect your peace, and evaluate whether someone truly deserves your trust. Recognize when a relationship is purely based on exchange and decide whether it's still worth the effort. That decision should include everything: emotional return, support, personal growth, even joy. When you begin seeing connections this way, your whole approach changes. You become more deliberate. You start building a circle filled with people who lift each other, who exchange value in a healthy way, and who show up with consistency. Not just talkers or takers, but real allies. And that's how you build a powerful, grounded life. Be with people who truly add value to your life, people who push you, uplift you, protect you, or bring fresh opportunities your way. And in return, you give them value too. This mutual exchange of effort and respect forms strong connections that drive growth and success. You're no longer stuck in draining, one-sided relationships or fake expectations. This way of thinking also prepares you for the changes that come naturally with life. People grow apart, situations shift, and what used to be a strong bond can lose its meaning. When you understand that friendships are often based on exchanges, you stop feeling guilt or betrayal when people fade away. You just realize that the connection no longer serves either side, and that's part of the process. At the same time, you start to recognize and value the rare people who stay. When someone chooses to show up and invest effort, even when there's no obvious gain, that means something. That kind of dedication is rare because it goes deeper than just give and take. It's a sign of belief in the relationship, the person, or a shared purpose. Until you see that kind of rare loyalty with your own eyes, it's wise to treat every connection as transactional. That doesn't make you cold, It keeps you grounded and protects you from false hopes. Viewing friendships through this lens doesn't take away the emotional depth. It just adds realism. Emotions are real, but they don't erase the fact that most relationships survive because both sides gain something. If you want connections that truly last, you need to bring value, not just expect it. This understanding changes how you approach others. You stop being passive in your relationships and start becoming someone who actively shapes strong bonds that align with your path. You choose wisely who gets your time and energy. And more than anything, you never forget your own value. Friendship isn't about blind devotion or endless giving. It's an ongoing exchange. Once you understand that, you gain clarity. You move forward with a focused mindset, free from fake connections and unnecessary pain. That's how you keep growing. Being self-reliant isn't just a way of thinking. It's the core of real strength. When you place your happiness, goals, or everyday needs in someone else's hands, you give up your power. That's the tough truth most people try to ignore. Depending on others makes you vulnerable, because now your outcomes rely on people who may or may not show up for you. And when they don't, you're left exposed. But when you're equipped to face life on your own, nothing can hold you back. True power comes from being able to face your problems with your own tools, your own mindset, and your own drive. Standing on your own builds a kind of strength that no one can take from you. Self-reliance means you believe in your decisions and abilities before anyone else does. You don't wait for someone's permission or help. You move. You take the first step, carry your own load, and lead your own way. The people who truly reach the top, they don't wait around for others. They create their own chances. They fix their own problems. This kind of personal strength doesn't show up overnight. It takes time, discipline, and a deep refusal to make excuses. It means owning every part of your life, the victories and the mistakes. No blaming others. No waiting for a rescue. When you take full responsibility, you grow in wisdom and inner power. That responsibility fuels self-trust. And self-trust turns into confidence. That's the real fuel behind every powerful person. Bending too much on others limits what you can do. Their priorities, moods, and limits shape what they offer you. That's unstable. But when you rely on yourself, you set the pace. You control your outcomes. You're not waiting on someone to show up or support you. That independence lets you move faster, take bigger steps, and keep pushing no matter the circumstances. It sharpens your mind and teaches you how to solve problems more creatively. When you know it's on you to fix things, you become more resourceful. You adapt faster. You keep going even when the odds are against you. This is what separates people who thrive from those who fall apart when pressure hits. One key piece of this mindset is emotional independence. When your self-worth depends on others' approval or attention, you're giving them power over your emotions. If they pull away, you crash. But when your strength comes from inside, you're unshakable. Being self-reliant doesn't mean pushing people away or refusing help. It means standing strong on your own and knowing when to accept help wisely. You're still building relationships, but from a place of strength, not need. That makes your partnerships more powerful. They're no longer crutches. They're connections built for growth and purpose. You're still in charge of your life. This way of living protects you from constant disappointment. When you lean too much on others, you set yourself up for failure when they let go. And eventually they will. People change. Life changes. Nothing is certain. But if your strength is rooted in yourself, you're ready for anything. You don't collapse when others fall short. You stay standing because your foundation is solid. The path of self-reliance is hard. It forces you to deal with fear, self-doubt, and discomfort. You have to do the heavy lifting yourself. But the reward is unshakable strength. You become someone who can't be knocked down, someone others respect, not because you demand it, but because you've proven that you can walk alone. You are your own foundation. You build your world. In the end, real self-reliance is freedom. Freedom from waiting, freedom from doubt, freedom from being controlled by others' actions. It's the power to choose your path without being held back by need or fear. That's how you become the leader of your life. That's where real strength starts, from within you. And when you understand that, Everything changes. It's tempting to believe that friends will always have your back, that people will stand beside you no matter what. But reality proves otherwise. When life gets tough, many of those friends vanish. That's something most don't expect, but should. False support is everywhere. It traps people into thinking they have a safety net that isn't real. Loyalty sounds nice, but when real pressure hits, very few stay. The moment you go through failure, loss, conflict, or struggle, you'll see people's true nature. Most aren't prepared to deal with pain that's not their own. Real support isn't about cheering you on when things are easy. It's about showing up when things fall apart. That's when loyalty is tested. Surface level support is cheap. It's based on comfort and ease, not on true connection. When you're successful and things are smooth, people love to be around you. That's effortless support. It costs them nothing. But real support costs time, energy, and sometimes reputation. And most won't pay that price. They're only there when the sun is shining. When storms come, they're gone. This isn't bitterness. It's just the way many people operate. They protect their comfort first. And if helping you costs them something, they'll likely choose themselves. That's why tough times are often lonely, because that's when the illusions fade. The danger of fake support isn't just that it leaves you alone. It's that it fools you into thinking you were safe. You believed in people who never really stood by you. That sting runs deep. But once you accept that not everyone will stay, you learn how to protect your heart and choose better. You stop placing blind trust in words and start watching for action. That's where strength begins. You stop expecting too much and start leaning more on yourself. When you realize that fake support is common, you begin to be more selective about who you allow close. You no longer give everyone the benefit of the doubt. You start judging people based on how they act during difficult times, not just when things are easy. Real support shows itself when life is hard, not when it's convenient. So when someone is there for you during a rough time, when they defend you despite criticism, or when they give effort, even when there's nothing in it for them, that's what matters. This understanding also drives you to become emotionally and practically self-reliant. If your well-being depends too much on others, you set yourself up to be let down. Instead, you learn how to face your issues alone and see support from others as helpful, but not something you depend on. That way, even if others fail you, you stay firm and keep going. Fake support also gives you a hard but useful lesson about human behavior and true loyalty. It makes you see that loyalty must be earned. Real loyalty is rare and valuable because it requires effort and bravery. The more fake support you come across, the more grateful you become for the few who genuinely stand by you. In the end, fake support acts as a filter. It removes the weak links in your life and shows you who truly deserves your time and care. Once you recognize this, you grow stronger. You stop wasting your energy trying to fix people who don't care or keep relationships that drain you. Instead, you put your energy into becoming stronger and nurturing the connections that prove to be real. Knowing that fake support is everywhere doesn't mean you close yourself off from the world. It means you become wiser and more intentional. You protect your peace by keeping your expectations realistic and focusing on your own well-being. You no longer believe in empty words or promises. You look for action, for consistency. When the hard times come, and they always do, you'll be prepared. You'll know who to turn to, but more importantly, you'll know how to depend on yourself first. That's how you survive. And not only survive, but grow in a world where fake support is easy to find and real loyalty is rare. Learning how to use relationships wisely is one of the most powerful skills you can develop if you want to succeed and protect yourself in any part of life, whether it's your career, personal development, or social world. The idea is simple, yet many misunderstand it. Friends can be helpful, but you should never approach them with blind trust or too much emotion. Relationships are more than just shared moments and good vibes. They can be resources, they can bring opportunities, and sometimes they can be dangers. If you treat friendships as light, emotional ties only, you make yourself open to disappointment, manipulation, or lost chances. When you start thinking with a strategy, you begin to understand that every relationship serves a purpose. Some people bring knowledge, others bring access, some bring credibility, and some bring energy. Knowing what someone brings to the table lets you engage with them in a smarter way. This doesn't mean you use people like tools without emotion. It means you value your time and energy enough to invest them in connections that support your growth and know when to step back when they don't. Being strategic also means knowing when a relationship is holding you back. If someone only takes from you, spreads negativity, brings drama, or refuses to support your journey, they don't belong in your life. You have to be willing to remove them without delay. Holding on to the past or shared memories can blind you from seeing that some people are actually obstacles. If your goal is to rise higher, you can't afford to carry emotional dead weight. Everyone in your space should either add to your progress or at the very least not take away from it. This kind of mindset requires you to be alert. You must constantly observe who benefits from your success, who disappears during your struggles, who opens new doors, and who tries to block them. It's about seeing your relationships clearly without false hope or wishful thinking. You're not being cruel for doing this. You're being smart and protective of your path. Having a strategic mindset also includes managing how people view you. In many parts of life, your network is just as important as your skills. If you build strong connections with people who hold power and value, your reach and influence grow. But to form these connections, you need to bring something of value as well. Relationships aren't one-way streets. If you only take, people will distance themselves from you. If you constantly give, whether that's support, insight, or help, you'll build a reputation that others respect and trust. It's also important to remember that using relationships smartly doesn't mean you can't have genuine ones. You can still form true friendships and emotional connections, but you remain grounded in your own goals and boundaries. Being strategic means knowing when to invest deeply and when to keep things light or distant. Not every bond deserves your full attention. Focus on those who reflect your vision and values and who challenge you to improve. This helps you stay focused, avoid draining connections, and keep your energy clear. Sentimentality is often praised, but in the world of high achievement and ambition, it can become a weakness. Emotional ties can keep you attached to people who are no longer good for you. It might be a friend who limits your thinking or a business partner who no longer fits your mission. When you're too sentimental, you end up holding on to what you should have already let go. Being strategic means you take an honest look at the value a relationship brings and make decisions that protect your direction. When you learn how to manage relationships with thought and intention, you gain control over your life. You're no longer just reacting to what people do. You're actively shaping your environment. You build a system around you that lifts you up and covers your weak spots. You also earn the respect of others by being both effective and dependable, and that draws better people and opportunities your way. Relationships can be your greatest tools if you know how to use them, but the world doesn't owe you kindness or loyalty. So you have to be careful with who you allow in and how you engage. Use your relationships as purposeful choices, not emotional habits. That's how you stay ahead and create a life that reflects your true power. Letting go of toxic ties quickly is one of the most important decisions you can make for your own mental clarity and progress. Toxic people are like emotional leeches. They drain your strength, confuse your thinking, and block your growth. Many people keep toxic relationships alive out of guilt, fear, or old habits, but doing that only holds them back. Spotting toxic people and cutting them out without delay is a skill that protects your energy and your future. Toxic relationships can appear in many forms. Friends who bring constant drama, people who twist your words, those who ignore your limits, or those who encourage poor choices. All of them become weights pulling you down. The longer you hold on, the heavier the burden becomes. That pressure starts to harm your self-esteem, your drive, and even your health. It's not enough to simply notice that a relationship is harmful. You must be willing to end it and fast before it causes real damage. Often what holds people back from cutting ties is fear. Fear of being alone, fear of uncomfortable talks, or fear that things might never get better. They convince themselves to wait, to hope for change, or to stay loyal to someone who isn't loyal in return. But that mindset wastes time and delays healing. Toxic people rarely change unless they truly want to, and waiting on that change costs you peace and progress. You owe it to yourself to protect your future. even if it means walking away from someone you once cared about. Guarding your inner peace should be your highest responsibility. Cutting ties doesn't always mean a loud confrontation. Sometimes it means stepping back quietly, setting unshakable limits, or reducing how much access someone has to your life. But regardless of the method, the key is being decisive. Uncertainty leads to confusion and mixed signals. When you choose to cut someone off, do it firmly and without regret. You don't have to explain yourself repeatedly or seek endless validation. Your peace of mind isn't up for negotiation. Another part of cutting toxic connections quickly is realizing that not every relationship is worth your energy, no matter how long you've known the person or how deep your history runs. Sometimes people change, and other times they finally show you who they really are after years of hiding. It's easy to get stuck in memories or loyalty to old bonds, but holding on to outdated versions of people keeps you from moving ahead. Letting go isn't betrayal, it's evolution. This idea applies just as much in the professional world. Harmful colleagues or business partners can drag you down just like toxic friends. In fact, at work, the consequences can be even more serious. Being surrounded by negative energy in your job can kill your drive and leave you stuck. Knowing when to step away from a toxic workplace relationship is just as important as cutting off someone in your personal life. You protect both your future and your reputation by keeping your surroundings clean of harmful influences. When you cut toxic ties quickly, you open up space for better, more uplifting relationships. This starts a powerful cycle. When you're around positive, respectful, and driven people, their mindset helps fuel your own. You become sharper, more disciplined, and more self-assured. You stop giving energy to chaos and start pouring it into your growth. It's key to understand that removing toxic people from your life isn't about being harsh or cold. It's about honoring your worth enough to say no to damage and negativity. You can be direct without being heartless. Sometimes the other person will react with guilt, manipulation, or anger, trying to pull you back in. Don't let it shake you. Hold firm. Your inner peace is far more valuable than their short-term reactions. The longer you wait to cut a toxic person out, the deeper the harm they cause. It's like a slow poison that eats away at your happiness, energy, and future. Acting quickly reduces that damage and sends a strong message to both yourself and others. You won't tolerate anything that disrupts your growth. This clarity brings a different kind of respect, both from yourself and those watching you. In the end, cutting off toxic ties fast is about survival and self-respect. It's a necessary move if you want to build a life based on strength, purpose, and happiness. The people you let into your space should add to your life, not drain you. By making clear decisions and protecting who gets access to you, you keep your life clean, focused, and moving forward without extra baggage. That's how people who win keep winning. At the root of every relationship, there's one hard truth you must face. No one is your friend in a perfect, unconditional way, no matter how much you want them to be. People act out of their own interest, and most relationships work like exchanges, value for value. Once you understand this, you free yourself from naive hopes and take back control. It teaches you to depend on yourself first, to build inner strength by standing alone, and to protect your space by spotting fake kindness and cutting toxic ties quickly. When you treat friendships with strategy, focusing on what they bring into your life and what you give back, you create a strong support system that helps you grow and shields you from being let down. Real strength comes from knowing that loyalty is rare, support often comes with conditions, and the only person you can always rely on is you. Accepting this mindset gives you clarity, power, and focus that no one can take from you, because no one is coming to save you. And that's why you must become your own protector, your own motivator, and your own best ally.